who showed up on my Facebook page, then Pakistan is a problem in a different way. I forget this guy's name. He's clearly, I think, a right-wing nationalist Indian. He was saying things that right-wing nationalist Indians tend to say, which is, India can never give up Kashmir, India is going to thrive and dominate South Asia for decades to come, and quote-unquote, Pakistan can prosper if they accept this reality. Basically meaning, get with the program, we're in charge. If you're not with our program, then that's just tough for you. And the subtext of that is, and it's your fault because you chose to split away from India in the first place in 1947. And that's the subtext of a lot of the conversation about Pakistan that's had in India and from Indians. And a very frightening thing that he said in the same message was, Modi is going to be the next Prime Minister of India. This is Narendra, is his first name, Modi, who is responsible for the killings of thousands of Muslims in the Indian state of Gujarat in 2002. A very, very scary right-wing politician. I don't know if it's true that he's going to be the next Indian Prime Minister, but if he is, that's a very dangerous thing. So there's an arrogance, I think, on the Indian side that sees Pakistan as a problem in a different way that reinforces the way that Americans see Pakistan as a problem. If you're a teenager from Waziristan, you see things somewhat differently, and this is where I'm going to quote. I was in Karachi in 2009 and had the opportunity to interview a 15-year-old boy who had fled Waziristan, which is where the drone attacks are happening, the unmanned American planes that are attacking and killing many innocent civilians, as well as, I guess, some bad guys in Waziristan. I'm glad to have the feeling now that more Americans are more aware of drones, of what drones are and what they're doing in Pakistan and elsewhere than they were 2 or 3 years ago when I was writing this book. I spoke at a church in Seattle, where I live, I think in 2009, maybe early 2010, and it was a liberal church with well-meaning people who wanted to understand and wanted to see the human side of Pakistan. But what really struck me about that particular occasion was that one lady in the audience raised her hand and said, "What's a drone attack?" We need to make sure that people aren't having to ask that question anymore. So I asked this 15-year-old boy, what is the effect that the drone attacks are having in Waziristan? He was working at a chicken farm outside Karachi as a servant, really, for someone I knew. He said, most of these drone attacks kill innocent people. They ask our government to tell the people that all of the people who are killed are foreigners, but that is not the case. Most of them are innocent people. Every person has now become a victim of the U.S. from these drone attacks. What the U.S. is doing by these drone attacks is creating more problems for themselves rather than solving problems. Every person now that did not want to carry weapons in Waziristan now wants to carry a weapon because his children have died in these U.S. attacks. They're just making it worse for themselves. So what is a problem and where the problem comes from depends a lot on your perspective and what angle you're looking at things from. As far as I'm concerned, the real problem is not Pakistan. The problem is that the Pakistani establishment and the U.S. establishment are both thoroughly compromised and corrupted by each other, actually, and by their relationship with each other, and trapped in a kind of dance of death with each other. I see the negativity and this dark, violent streak of things coming from both sides and both establishments. And the problem is that we talk about Pakistan in these abstract terms as a problem. If there is a solution, it lies not with anything that either state or either establishment can or should or will do, but in society, both countries. Society is us. those of us who are in this room, we are society. And I think the Pakistanis and the Pakistani community in the U.S. has a very important role to play, as Americans as well as Pakistanis. And I'd love in the Q&A maybe to elaborate on that some more. But this comes back to Mohammed Zahid, the 12-year-old boy. And I didn't know that story until Rafia just told it. He was a good citizen. He did a great act of citizenship. He is, quote unquote, just a street kid, 12-year-old kid that people tell to go away many times every day. But he saw and acted on his involvement and his involvement in the human society at that moment. He didn't want people to die. And he did everything that he could, and he prevailed, and he was a hero. Not every act of citizenship that any of us is in a position to do is going to be a heroic act, but we need, I think, in this moment, both in Pakistan and in America, we need to be acting on our own initiative as citizens and as communities and as a society. I think that's a really, really urgent, important thing for us to keep in mind, to remember that we need to do, and to wake up every morning asking ourselves, what should I be doing today as a citizen? And I don't mean that, I don't want to say that just in sort of an abstract way. I guess it's abstract unless I specify particulars, or you can specify particulars for yourself. But if you've been noticing in American society, institutions are collapsing right and left all around us. American society is not holding together very well at the moment. And we are in a very severe, I think, political crisis that's only going to become worse as the very difficult presidential election approaches next year and beyond, and as the economy continues to be very difficult. So the public schools are collapsing. The state budgets are collapsing. The things that should be being done for us by the state will not continue to be done on the same scale. What can we as Americans do for and with each other? And what can we as Americans, in terms of our relationship to and our attitudes towards Pakistan and Pakistanis, what can we be doing? Those are the questions we need to ask, because the establishment and the state are not going to take the lead in the way that we would like them to do. They just are not going to do that. So what I would end with is the initiative, the enterprise that we can take. What initiative can we take? What should we be doing? And each of us as an individual is responsible for doing something analogous to what Mohammed Zahid did every day and every week, and as we go forward in this society and in terms of our relationship with Pakistan. We cannot rely on the media or the government or the institutions to do that for us. So that's my point. Thank you very much.